LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network.
Jay, there was a prevailing thought that your defense would be the strongest unit on your team. They've given up over 30 points in both of these games. How do you explain what hasn't worked for that unit?
I don't know yet. I got to go back and watch this film. There are no excuses to be had. We got to look at ourselves and we got to play better. We're minus a couple pieces in the secondary. That has an issue, but really we should be better than this. And that's on us, obviously, as coaches, and we got to get more out of them. We have a very talented group on defense. We're obviously not reaching them, but we got to play better, and we will play better. We have 14 games left and still a lot of football to play.
You mentioned not reaching them. Obviously, that was a big focal point this offseason, was changing some of the coaches, changing that. Is there any sense that maybe more changes need to come?
No, I don't know. I think it's after 2 games you're talking about playing 2 very good offensive football teams now, 2 of the best offensive lines in pro football. We just played back-to-back, and that's no excuse whatsoever, but I don't think we have to hit the panic button yet. We just got to continue to focus in on what we can do better to win. Get Jonathan in here, get a couple of our corners back in here, and let's go back and strap it up against Chicago next week, see what happens.
Jay, in addition to the defense, the right side of the offensive line was thought to be the strong side of the offensive line, but between Morgan, Moses, and Sheriff, they've had 5 penalties called on them, defenders going by them. How can you explain what's going on, the issues with the right side of the offensive line right now?
Today I can't explain it. I don't know what happened. I didn't see the holding calls that they called on those 2 guys, but they are costly penalties again. We talk about their movement all the time, but until you actually have to go back and block their movement, their stunts and you have to react and stick your foot in the ground and react and then bounce off the stunt and try to get the other guy. It's easier said than done sometimes. They're very effective and have been for a long time. So a couple holding calls here and there may be understandable, but we have had way too many the first 2 weeks.
Jay, going back to the not reaching them on defense, this staff has been in place for a couple of years. How is it possible that after a couple of years that they're not being reached? What is not happening there?
Well, I think we have some moving parts now, too. We got Landon Collins. He's a veteran guy, but his first year. Sweat's his first year. Obviously, Cole Holcomb's his first year. Bostic's his first year. We're playing down Rogers Camardi at corner, and Jimmy Moreland's his first year, so it's not like we're the most experienced group. We feel like we're very talented, yes, but experienced, we're still fighting through some things. Very young defense. So there's a lot to look forward to, without a doubt, but we do have to play better, and we have to strap it up and get back to work.
Jay, you mentioned some of the injuries in the secondary. You do still have Josh Norman out there. I don't know if picked on is the right term, but Dallas seemed to be willing to go after him. What were your thoughts on his performance today?
I got to go look at it. Sometimes his zone. He's maybe expecting middle help, but I don't know. I'll have to wait and see when I see the film. If he's playing a cover 2 and they run a basic route in front of him, and that's not his guy. So we just have to look at it and continue to challenge him and get more out of all our guys. But I'm not going to blame Josh Norman for this one.
Second week in a row, you guys have started quickly, and then it's been a struggle in the second half. Anything you can put your finger on?
Offensively, yeah, those penalties again killed us on those couple drives. So that killed us. So, and then defensively, we gave up another big play there on the post route, and then the drive of the second half, they ate the clock up and knocked it down our throat. So good game plan by them. Kellen Moore did a great job offensively. Coach Garrett, credit to their staff and their players.
Jay, we've been talking about penalties since last year. How do you get it cleaned up? I mean, at this point,
I got to
when
check
we
them
keep
out.
reaching-
I can't just say, it's, I got to look at them. The play at the end of the half, we're going to hold them to a field goal, and they call defensive holding, and we thought their left tackle held our guy. We thought it was on them. Instead, it was on us. They got an extra down, and they scored a touchdown there at the end of the half. That's a 4-point swing right there that, we'll have to wait and see what that looked like. But, every coach in the NFL teaches fundamental football. Hand usage, knowing the snap count. Eventually, we're going to have to execute a little bit better and make sure we understand that we're being watched very closely, and we got to eliminate the penalties, both offensively and defensively.
Jay, one of the few bright spots you had was Terry McLaurin, second straight week with a touchdown. It's been a while since you have had a receiver get off to a start like him through 2 games. What did you see that made you be able to kind of shut him down at one point in the preseason and not need to see any more, and you knew what you had?
Oh, he's hurt a little bit. I didn't want to go out there, and he's hurt his back or butt muscle or something, so we laid off of him. But we see speed. We see a guy that's very smart, very young. That whole receiving core actually did pretty good today with all the moving parts that we had, some no huddle and some different formations. I think him and Trey Quinn. Robert Davis came in a little bit, and obviously Steven Sims had a couple carries there. Some stuff. It's pretty impressive so far. I think there's a lot to look forward to with the youth on this football team getting better and better as the season goes on.
Hey, Jay, what do you do to keep the players from slipping into the mindset that anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and that the season is starting to slip away even though it's early?
Yeah, we played 2 games, and that's a big thing. It's just got to keep it in-house and stay together. That's without a doubt. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to tear us apart, without a doubt, and deservedly so probably. But we played 2 games, and we played 2 very good football teams. Unfortunately, we're 0-2 in our division. We lost to Dallas and Philadelphia, 2 of our rivals. We don't like that at all. But there's a lot of football left. We have a young football team that's going to develop and grow. Need some veterans to step up and take this team by the throat, and I think it'll happen. I still feel very optimistic about the future of this football team this year.
Jay, you said at the end of last season, you had said you thought you guys were still very close to the rest of the teams in the division, and after these first 2 games, which seem to have gone the same way, where do you think you guys are with regard to the division right now?
I think when you see us in the first half, first 2 games, I think we can go toe-to-toe with anybody. I think we wore down a little bit, and then we let some things happen where we did not come out of the funk. We didn't get the momentum back in our favor. You know what I mean? We held them to field goal, got it down to 10, and we had the 4th down to 3. We missed the Chris Thompson out of bounds. That could have been a big play and a chance for us to go down and try to get some of the momentum back. But these first 2 games, it's all about when you lose momentum, you got to be able to seize it back somehow. Somebody's got to step up, make a big play, offense, defense, special teams, and that just hasn't happened for us yet. But I expect if we stick with the plan, guys continue to play hard and buy in and stay together, we'll get it changed.
Jay, we've talked about the penalties a lot after these games, and you're often obviously wanting to send them into the league and get them reviewed. How often do you actually get back feedback from the league that helps you, whether it's an explanation or...
Yeah, we do it all the time. You send in 10 plays, and you get the feedback and the explanations, and at the end of the day, if they're wrong on one, it doesn't help you on game day. If you get the explanation, they say this is why we call it, that's what we're really looking for. And now we get the opponents' calls as well when they have questions so we can see what they're asking about, if it's about our guys holding and all that stuff, so we can really hone in and see why they're calling the holding calls when they're calling it.
Coach, you say it's only 2 games, a little too early to consider the panic button, making staff changes. But will this cause you to pay more attention to the defense, to look more closely at what's going on that side of the ball, maybe give more feedback?
Yeah, for sure. We're in it together. I spent a lot of time with Coach Minuski already this week, and we're going to work through this thing. This week was a little bit hard when you're talking about your 4th defensive back we just signed yesterday, and then your 3rd safety has to go and play corner in case if Cromartie goes down and he's playing the whole half limping. We're a little short-handed there. So once we get our guys back, I'll feel a little bit better about the secondary. Now the defensive line and linebackers, we can't give up 200 yards rushing to anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere. So that's something we really have to hone in on. I'm sure Coach Thompson will have a few words to say about that, and Coach Grimm. So get it shored up.
Hey Jay, the first half offensively against Philadelphia, I'm over here. The first half offensively against Philadelphia, when Case and the whole offense seemed to be in such a rhythm, even though you had some glimpses since then. It hasn't been quite like that. And I know the penalties have been a lot of that, but is there anything else that you can attribute to not reaching that same level of efficiency?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, really. I think both games in the second half, we got down a couple scores. We had to hurry up a little bit and try to get the ball back and do a little bit no huddle offense and kind of got out of our rhythm. We had some really good play actions, we thought, some shot plays, and we got to hit some of our more down the field throws too as well. I got to call some more, and we got to protect a little bit better, and we got to take some shots, try to get some chunk yards. Seems like when we do efficient football, something happens where it's a holding call or a loss of five, something like that. It kills a drive. So we got to take more shots, hit them, and obviously get our running game going some way, shape, or form.
Coach, can you speak on Case Keenum? I know it's been 2 games, even though they haven't been victories. How do you feel he's doing in the offense? How do you feel he's performing?
I think he's doing good, really. I think it's not an easy position to play. If you're first time learning new terminology and first time against the Cowboys, entirely different defensive scheme than we faced last week, so we got a whole new set of plays. I think he handled it pretty well. He might have missed a few throws here and there. Probably the most glaring one was the 4th and 5. He rushed a little bit to Chris. But for the most part, he's competing, man. He's not taking many sacks. He's getting out of the pocket. He's making plays and love his competitiveness. And I think that will rub off on the entire football team if it hasn't already. Guys like to play for him and play with him.
Jay, Coach is often saying, you say, we want to score first. We don't want to commit any turnovers. 2 weeks in a row, no turnovers, early leads, but still you're down multiple scores with lots of time left in the game. Is that the downside of the picture?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We got to play better defense on third down. We had a big 3rd down and 5, I think, early in the third quarter. We played cover 2, and they hit a little route in the zone for a gain of 15. They ran a zone read for a gain of 45 yards, which, we've seen many a times on tape. Somebody got out of a gap or somebody didn't take the quarterback. So, I think we've got to hone in and play better, play smarter, play more efficient, play tougher, play more physical, man. That's what we're all about.
I'd rather, so.
Start by talking. You had the interception there early, and then I think you only had 1 incompletion the rest of the way. Just that play and just your performance from that point forward.
Yeah, I think that's credit to the offense of just putting the play behind us, of everybody just coming together, not worrying about what we had done, and we hadn't done really anything up to that point of throwing that interception. But to be able to come back, just stick together. Offensive line blocked well. Receivers went out and made plays, made some contested catches. When you're able to do that, you look up, and as you said, the stats are what they are.
Are you aware of it when you're in the middle of that, when you've not missed a pass in the second half? It's 18 in a row.
You're not really aware of it, but then again, you kind of take a second, like, man, when's the last, incompletion maybe, but it's not something you think about. As I said, you got to put, especially at this position, you got to put the last throw, the last play behind you, or mistakes oftentimes come then. So it's just about just being in the groove, offense working together. As I said, the run game was happening. We're able to throw the ball, receivers making great catches, and as you just look up, and it's like that.
Devin can run. Do you think maybe he surprised them with his speed? And can you just kind of talk about that play?
That's something on film. We know their safeties. We know their defense won it. Devin got an opportunity, and it was great just to see him get out there, put the boosters on, just threw the ball out there, and he just went under, and it was great. Happy for a guy like that who's had a great camp. Obviously done a really good job up to this point, and now he's just going to help us out. And as you said, he's got some speed. He can do a lot of things, and he's going to be a big help to this offense.
Sounds like you did. It looks like you did more though with him, like later in the game, slants over the middle, like he's kind of progressing as an all-around receiver.
I never said he was one type of receiver. I feel like he's a great receiver. He can go do it all. That was the reason he made this team, and he'll be able to continue to help us out across the middle, slants, yards after catch, stretch the defense. That play wasn't necessarily, hey, let's put Dev in to go throw this play. That was just him coming in for, I think, Gallup at the time, who was taking a breather, and he got open, and it became his play.
How much do you know his story with the knees, the ACLs, and all that?
Obviously him being a college teammate with Zeke, Zeke informed me a little bit, and then as you get to know a teammate and talking to him, it's an inspiration. Obviously injuries happen, and injuries can hurt careers and sometimes derail them, and people never can bounce back. But in this case, you found a guy that this offseason, this training camp, this preseason, who really got his confidence back. Forgot about those injuries, forgot about all those things and reasons that maybe he couldn't do it. And he's here, and he's going to help this team, and he's going to be great for us. And he's an inspiration to many athletes that may get injured.
It's a small sample size, but you had these 2 games here. But you started to see the game a little bit differently last year. Is this the best stretch you've had in the NFL as far as being able to decisively execute what it is you want to do?
I mean, yeah, sure. And I give credit again, going back to last year. I mean, I think it happened last year and started last year, and I was just being able to take that and progress through the offseason and learn more. And obviously, it's great coaching from Kellen, from Kit, Coach Garrett. And as I said before, when you have great players around you, it just makes the thing fun, makes it a little bit easier in that standpoint.
Did Tyrone Sack do anything for the offense? Right before that 97-yard drive, he comes up with a big stop.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, momentum's huge. Momentum is one of the biggest things in this game. And at that point, we needed it. As I said, an interception, just offense balling out, not getting anything going. And they're pretty much right there on the fringe of a couple of more yards. They're kicking a field goal, and they're still on top of us. But defense comes up, as you said, Crawford makes a big-time sack, and they punted away, and as we talk about on offense, in the huddle when you're backed up in those situations, it's being discussed. Hey, we've done this before. I think it was Trav or Zach or one of those guys said it. We're used to going 90 yards. Let's go do it. And it's about focusing one play at a time, and we're able to go out there and do exactly that and get it going.
What are you thinking on the zone read, the 42-yard run, in terms of your decision-making there and holding up for you?
Yeah, I mean, defensive end crashed hard. That's my read, just to pull the ball, and great block from Cobb there, and just allowed me to get going. And at that point, I was just getting as much as I could.
Did you slow down to let Gallup try to get a guy for you?
Yeah, I mean, that was a little caught in between of indecisiveness right there. I wanted to let Gallup obviously get in front of me and block Norman, but then again, I feel like I was going to have to slow down too much. I'm not the fastest, so I didn't know what was behind me or what was coming up behind me. And at that point, just was going for the stiff one.
You said you would have scored if you just kept rolling.
Yeah, I love my teammates. You know, they have all the belief in me. I don't know if my speed does. I don't know if I do or not. So at that point, I was going for the stiff form, hoping that I could stiff form him at the same time. Gallup pushed him, and, it looked that much better. But it didn't work out. It was a big play, great play for the offense.
You had a 5-minute scoring drive without Zeke. It was all Pollard and Jarwin and Cobb. What was that like? What was the confidence like on that drive?
I mean, that's credit the whole training camp and all the time that I've talked about of not having Zeke and how that was going to help this offense, honestly. Nobody blinks. Nobody worries about anything. We've got a lot of guys that can come in and make plays. I mean, as you just said it, Jarwin, Pollard, Devin, Cedric, guys that are coming in and taking advantage of this opportunity and wanting that opportunity and making the most of it. When you have that spirit, when you have that attitude from those guys coming in, nothing slows down. You don't blink because, hey, this guy's not in. You continue to run the offense and just do your individual job and allow the offense to come together.
You had 9 touchdowns, I think, to this point. You didn't do that until the second quarter of Week 6 last year. Does that just reinforce the changes you've made in the offseason and different things you're doing or working?
Yeah, I mean, last year was a long time ago. There was things there. I remember we had problems, communication on the road, different things and different aspects that hindered that. But we're focused on now. We're focused on the things that we can do better, and we're going to continue to grow in that standpoint. You would say whatever touchdowns you'd say, but if you ask all those guys in that or on this team, on this offense, they say it's not enough. So just a hungry bunch of guys, great athletes that all care for one another, that are coming in, enjoying this time each and every day that we're putting into this offense or we're putting into this team. And it's just going to pay off.
It's a little bit of a last year question, too, when you talked about the sacks were an issue that you really looked at to correct yourself. It's only 1 in 2 games. Can you talk about your production?
Yeah, and that was 100% my fault tonight. Just said that to the offensive line. A couple of guys in there that was my fault once again. I mean, they just keep doing a great job, and they're continue to do that all year long. And it's everybody playing together. It's guys getting open, so the offensive line doesn't have to block all day long. It's me making good decisions, anticipating things, getting out of my hand. And right there, I just think that one sack tonight, I think the defensive line, offensive line kind of blinded where I wanted to throw it. I know the coverage. I've got to trust it and throw it. It wasn't a great play by me trying to make something happen. Obviously, I didn't. So it should be 0 sacks, and the offensive line's continue doing a great job.
Last week, Josh Norman basically said he wasn't impressed by what you did the first week, and I was just wondering if that was any extra motivation for you, if you even heard it or if you even cared. I
mean, yeah, sure, I heard it, but no, I'm not going to allow him to be a motivation to me. I've got enough things that motivate me. They get me going. What somebody says, good or bad about me, definitely isn't the case, especially when he's not on this team. So, no.
Did you feel, beyond him, though, did you feel there's Landon Collins before and others, there's kind of been a sense of, well, stop Elliott, put the ball in Dak's hands, and let's see how this plays out?
I mean, is it just them two? I mean, let's be honest. So I can't say I credit anybody for that. I mean, that's a chip on my shoulder, and that's been there since I've been playing this game for a long time. Always been doubted, always accepted, and that's who I am. So, I mean, yeah, of course that's there, but I'm not going to give credit to one individual.
Jerry was saying in there, this is the best you played this 2-game stretch for the Cowboys, but he didn't know if you had better games at Mississippi State. Anything come to your mind?
I'm focused on the now. I don't know. I mean, obviously we made a good run there at Mississippi State. I'm sure I had some good games and some things there, but at this point it's about turning the page. And as I said, I mean, I'm not going to sit on what we've done at this point. Now it's what we can do to get better and to have a better performance as an offense going into week 3.
Along the lines of the pass protection you talked about with Travis back there, how has that impacted those guys?
It's huge. He's one of the smartest guys in football. As I've said before, I'll continue to say, when you have a guy like that orchestrating the offense, getting the IDs, making the points in the run game, just allows everyone to play a whole lot faster, allows us to be downhill on that tempo, and a lot of credit to him for that. Thankful to have him back and glad he's healthy and playing well.
Jack, can you talk about what Randall Cobb has brought to this team since signing him?
Yeah, I mean, great leadership, veteran receiver. I mean, a quarterback pretty much playing receiver, a guy that knows the defense, a guy that takes a lot of pride in his job, no matter if it's run blocking, no matter if it's clearing out a defender so a guy can come right in behind him in that voided zone and make a catch. Selfless player that everybody is, I promise you, on this team is thankful to have. He's a great teammate and he's a great football player. He makes us all better.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Zach.
LegacyMaker, the All Sports Network.